That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Movie Trailer Trash. We just watched the trailer for Ready Player One. I'm Charlie.
I'm Bethany.
And we took a little week-long hiatus there for a week.
Yep.
I was going to say for a little bit, but it was just a week.
But don't you worry, folks. I wasn't on vacation. I was working long and hard.
Yeah, well, they don't care.
Oh.
It's
well,
all the
I mean,
same to them.
You know, how to work extra hours, guys. But I'm back for now.
But we decided to come back with Ready Player One because ever since the trailer came out during Comic-Con, I've wanted to do an episode on it, and Bethany has seemed disinterested. But since she's been working so much, I have just made the executive call to do it.
And I think it's good. We got to talk about things I'm not interested in sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. You and I have a bad habit of only talking about the movies we want to see.
Right.
Sometimes I have to be like, we got to talk about movies we don't want to see because other people want to see them, and we got to tell them why they're wrong.
Well, yeah, but like even doing an episode about Baywatch like kind of physically hurt me.
What?
Because of how bad it was going to be.
It was bad, but you didn't know it was going to be that bad. There's no way you could have.
I'm pretty sure I predicted it to be really bad.
It should have been like 21 Jump Street, and I'm disappointed.
But that's not what this episode's about. This is about Ready
Player
One, which the reason that I'm most interested in it is it's based off of a book called Ready Player One.
But you haven't read the book, right?
I have read the book.
Oh. I feel like maybe there was somebody else who was like, I can't wait to see it. It's based off a book that I haven't read. But never mind.
Maybe that was your brother-in-law.
Maybe, yeah. That sounds right.
But that's the reason I'm very excited to see is because I read this book that I just saw at the bookstore and bought it and read it and
you
much faster
it.
than I normally do, and it was really fun and exciting and everything.
You enjoyed it a great deal.
And then shortly after I was done reading it, apparently this news was already broken before I even bought the book.
But you didn't realize it.
Right. Is that this movie was being made, and it was being made by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So Steven Spielberg is the director.
And it's a sci-fi movie.
And what it is a movie that takes place in the distant future. And
it said like 2045, right?
Something
like
something
that. So
around
not
there.
too distant.
And everyone's very, either super poor or super rich, and the effects of global warming have taken effect. And it's very...
So basically it takes place today.
Yeah. No, that's
right
the
now.
point. Is like it's
except just a little further.
It's an extreme version of what's already happening.
Yeah.
And the majority of the story takes place in a virtual world called the Oasis, which is, not only a commentary on how we get lost in our virtual worlds,
but also for them it's one of the only options, right? Because there's nowhere to go.
It's the only way anyone does anything. It's where they go to school. It's where they go to work. It's how they earn money and learn and do all these things. But the reason
is probably because of overpopulation, right?
Right.
Because it shows the stacks. The kid says he lives in the stacks, and it's just like a whole bunch of trailers stacked on top of each other.
Right. And so it's everyone's living
Doesn't
situation
look very pleasant.
is really terrible except for the super, super rich. And so the big kind of unique thing about this movie and about this story is that almost every single thing in it is a reference to something from the 80s.
Okay.
Basically, like pop culture from the 80s. The guy who created the Oasis is was obsessed with 80s culture.
Even so, even if let's say you're obsessed with 80s culture and you're like, I'm going to create this cool virtual world. You wouldn't create just a bunch of 80s culture stuff.
No, that's not what it is. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not going to explain that. But
you're just saying there is a bunch of 80s references.
He's obsessed with 80s stuff, and the people who are obsessed with him are in tow obsessed with 80s stuff.
Well, anyway, let me say a little something about it based on the trailer, because all I really know is the trailer.
Right.
And what you just said there. So the thing that bothers me about this trailer is that I have no idea what this movie is about. It looks like a movie about a kid playing video games where you're in the video game like every time he plays it. And it looks super boring.
And that's probably the problem with making a movie that's based off of such a popular book or a comic book.
Yeah.
Is that when you first release the teaser trailer, because there's going to be more trailers to come and you're going to figure out more what's happening.
I hope.
is that it's basically just exists for people who have read the source material.
Sure.
So, like, I'm the only person that would get really... Well, not the only person, but
You
people
and
who
the
have read the
people, yeah.
book are the only people who would get really excited about that trailer because it looks good.
Because to you, it's like, oh, look, he made what I imagined come to life.
Right.
But to me, it looks like that's a video game. And it doesn't even look that high tech.
And it is a video game.
But
it's
looks,
all just digital.
I feel like I'd be going to the movies to watch a kid play video games. And I can just go to YouTube to watch kids play video games.
But, like, what it is, I know that people...
Like, is there a story?
Yes.
Because it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just like this kid goes and puts his headset on and plays games.
Right.
And
It's the reason that Steven Spielberg probably agreed to do this and is the perfect person for it is because it's a journey quest type thing.
Okay, but it all takes place inside this virtual reality.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the stakes
it takes
are
place
really
in
low.
and out of it.
But the stakes are really low because you can't die
No.
in virtual reality.
The stakes are very high.
Okay, well. I think it looks really bad. I'm just going to say it right off the bat.
Well, that's because you don't know anything about it.
Well, also, though, quality-wise, you said it looks really good. I think, like, legitimately it looks bad.
No, it looks like a video game.
It looks
like
yeah,
a virtual
but like,
world.
Not like a video game from 2045. I would expect it to be better.
No, but what I always say about
Like,
you
why
know
isn't it
those
better?
World of Warcraft commercials that they make,
Mm-hmm.
where like it's like really intense, cool graphics, and then the
Yeah.
actual game is just some
Yeah.
garbage,
Sure.
people running around. That's what that game looks like. Is those really cool commercials? So it's like if the actual video game were as cool as the commercials.
Perhaps.
But I like that it doesn't look real.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing in it appealed to me. When he was in the virtual world, I was like yawning.
What about the car chases?
Yeah, that's stupid.
He's
I don't want to watch.
He's
I don't
being
wanna
chased
watch
by
a kid
cops in a
play
DeLorean.
I don't want to watch a kid play a car crash game, a car racing game where you can fly off the tracks and stuff. I've played those video games. I don't need to watch somebody else play them.
Well, I
Is
mean,
it,
it's
is that
a lot
part
more
of the
than
story,
that.
or is that just the kid playing a video game where he's racing?
No, it's not just racing.
Okay, because it looks like just a racing game, and it's like, oh, cool, and also you can smash cars, and I'm like, I don't care.
There's a
don't
journey
care.
that happens within the virtual world that is a big deal throughout the real world.
Okay, well,
And because of that, there's a lot of drama and intense situations that happen.
well, another thing though is I was thinking it reminded me of it looked like the same caliber movie as like Ender's Game. Also
I liked
based,
Ender's
also
Game.
based off of a book.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's fun, but it could have probably been way, way better if they would have put more money into it and done a better job. Like, it was good and fun, but I know it could have been better, and I didn't even read the book. But
Yeah.
just based on the movie, I'm like, man, I wish that would have been just a little better.
Here's the thing about
That's
this.
the quality this looks like to me. It looks like a kid's movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very Spielbergy, and it's got a Spielbergy feeling in the book also.
Okay.
The book is very PG-13 as well.
Yeah, but it looks like a kid's movie that doesn't ever make it to popularity with the adults, like Ender's Game. Like Ender's Game, if you had to take your like 12-year-old cousin to see a movie, and so they couldn't see any of the good movies, so you saw Ender's Game, you'd be like, oh, that wasn't bad. But you would never have chosen to go see it on your own.
And this
That's what this
story, at least, I don't know if this movie, but this story has a lot more to it than just the action.
Sure.
I will say that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, this is not a trailer that tells you anything about the movie. So, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be good or that the story wouldn't be good. I just think that it just like anytime you make a movie off of a book, it's hard to do the book justice, especially when there's such an expansive world that you've created. And so, I have my doubts that they can pull this off and make it something I would want to see.
My biggest worry with this movie is that this book, there's a very specific point where it should stop and then start anew again, because it's two kind of story arcs in one book. And so if they try to make it just one movie, I think they're going to have to cut out a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And that's something that's tough with books, too, because no matter what, you're going to have to cut out a lot of stuff.
And this would be such a perfect, 2-movie thing. But it's
Okay.
like they don't do that anymore. Or
Well,
I've
never
only seen
really.
it. Yeah, I've only seen it once with
You
Kill
got
Bill.
Kill Bill. There's others, right?
I don't know.
If there are others, I don't think they were purposefully done that way.
Right. That's like the only because he had so much of a reputation that he could just go in and do that.
Yeah.
Like no one else trusts anyone to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So when it comes to books, like you were talking about how you read this and then you found out it was coming out in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's happened to me a lot recently. And I think it's just because since you and I are both kind of casual readers, we're not avid readers, we're just like, let's go to the library and look around. So you stumble upon the books that are in the display case as the
Right.
most popular books.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are going to get turned into movies. So that happened with me with Gone Girl. That's when I first started reading for fun. Back when Gone Girl, it was like the year before Gone Girl came out. And I read the book, was amazed, and then heard it was coming out on movie. I was like, oh my God. It also happened to me with Girl on the Train. And it also happened to me with The Circle, which you introduced to me. But Girl on the Train and The Circle both got terrible
Yeah,
reviews.
never even saw The Circle.
And
everyone said how awful it was.
And I still want to see both because I'm like, I want to see it, how somebody made it play out, But I also am concerned about it being disappointing. So, I mean, that's always a concern. But I think it's possible to have something like Ender's Game where it's like, well, it wasn't what I had hoped for, but I really enjoyed it. And I think that hopefully when I go back and watch Girl on the Train, I think that's probably how that one was. However, I heard The Circle was just like terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Which is insane.
Which is unfortunate. They had the perfect cast.
Well, I mean, like, even if it wasn't the perfect cast, still everyone
It's an
on that
interesting
cast
movie.
is amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, even if they weren't casted perfectly for the roles, which I think they were,
Yeah.
they're all great actors.
Well, I heard that Tom Hanks, that his character was the worst. And I'm like, what? No. His character is so interesting. How could he not have made it awesome? But anyway, we digress. But the point I'm making is that that's just something you got to go in, and it's nerve-wracking because obviously a lot of people like this movie, but he knows that going in, and you've got a lot of weight on your shoulders. And I just think that it's
like this book.
What? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. And I think the thing is that more often than not, it's disappointing. And not in the way where people just don't like it because it's not exactly the same, but in the way where it's just not that good.
But and also this one, so this always bodes well for books that are turned into movies. The writer of the book helped write the screenplay.
Yeah, that helps.
And the writer for the other writer for the movie also wrote some great stuff. He helped write The Avengers and all the older X-Men movies, and he did The Incredible Hulk, which people,
I never saw that
say
one.
is really terrible.
Oh, wait, yes, I did. Is that the one with Edward Norton?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's,
Yeah,
the worst
I
of
saw
the
that
Marvel
one.
movies, but it's still not that bad.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
And so he's really good action.
Who doesn't love Liv Tyler just whispering? It's okay.
He's a really good action,
It's okay.
heroic thing, because like that's
Yeah,
kind of
it
what
sounds
this
like
is.
he's written some very action-y, fun movies, so that's interesting.
The way this story is, take out all of the 80s nostalgia stuff,
Sure.
even though that's a fun part of it. It's still just like a journey, like a high school age kid on a epic journey that he should really have no business being involved in, and going through it, and it's really fun and exciting, and it's crazy. It's very Steven Spielberg-y.
I like the idea of a story that takes place in a near future, somewhat distant but not super distant future. I really like the idea of that because I do feel like most of our sci-fi movies take place way in the future, and we don't get a ton. Like, that's why I was excited about The Circle. We don't get a ton where it's like you could almost see it. You're like, yeah, we could be there.
Very close.
Like, give it 40 years, we could be there.
Yeah, and I mean,
scary.
That was
but
a
that's
thing
interesting.
That when I was reading it, that I would notice that you would be like, yeah, that's basically what we're dealing with right now, but not.
But like,
even close,
if everything that we're worried about actually happened all at once,
right?
And I mean, the thing is, it's a dystopian future,
kind
but
of.
like a dystopian future that could be reality.
Yeah, because it's dystopian for poor people.
Well, when you think of
and
dystopian,
not for rich people.
well, I mean, that's what a dystopian future is, though, most of the time. Like there's always
I'm thinking
somebody.
of post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. Dystopian is like the opposite of a utopian. Like it's not a great place, but there's always people who.
I thought that was a me-topian.
No.
No?
What? No. It's like there's always the rich people. It's like the Hunger Games. There's the District 1 people. There's always going to be somebody in charge.
There's always a District 1.
Yeah, there is. You know, there's always something. I mean, it's like 1984, Big Brother. You know,
The show?
they're in charge. No,
Oh.
but everybody else, it's the proles who are screwed over. So I like dystopian future stories a lot, and I think it's interesting that this is one you could see happening. And something that just came to me right now is interesting. So when you hear or you read about dystopian future stories, a lot of times you're like, whoa, that's crazy. That would be nuts. But then sometimes, like with The Circle, you're like, oh, wait, I could see that happening. I could see us like just going a little too far with something.
Right.
But when you think about it, there are people living a dystopian future right now, like
Right.
in a dystopian world right now, like in North Korea and other places on Earth where it's just like it's their world and their lives are in this dystopia.
But
So it's possible that it could happen to us someday.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
agree.
not. Hopefully
And
not America.
I also
but-
think that it's possible that, like in this movie, technology advances so much that you get this insane technology
Yeah.
in the poorest areas of the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, why do you think there's cell phone companies in the poor neighborhoods all the time?
Right.
Even poor people have cell phones for the most part. Maybe not the nicest and the newest, but with their plans and the way they make it. And I'm sure I know there was a time where it was like, oh, you have to be rich to have a cell phone.
But I think that there will be a lot of elements of this that you'll be into that aren't shown here. There's a group of ragtag misfits.
Okay.
There's a lot
That's
of
always fun.
mystery and
Are all
confusion and trickery.
Are all of the main characters teenagers like that?
I mean, I don't know how they present it, but I know that you're not really supposed to know for at least one of them.
Okay.
But the majority of them are.
Okay.
I do know that Simon Pegg is in this,
Interesting.
and he plays one of the more important characters, and so that's cool.
That's cool.
And the people who are playing the kids or the teenagers, the high schoolers, are fairly unknown. At least I didn't really recognize
that
them.
kid looked familiar.
And I don't really know who that main guy is.
The main kid looked familiar to me.
I
think
could
he's
look it
been
up,
in
but I don't really
another-
care that much.
I think he's been in another movie as a kid.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Not an adult?
Like, yeah.
What
He
about
looked-
like a really old person?
He looked familiar, but I couldn't peg it right now just thinking about it.
Well, let's move on
Okay.
to where, when, and how you're going to see it.
Where? When? How?
Are you going to see this movie? All right. Where, when, and how you're going to see it. I was going to let Bethany start, but she is leaning as far as she possibly can back in her chair. So I guess I'll start. I think that I am going to want to see this movie as soon as possible in the theaters for multiple reasons. First and most important reason is that I read the book and loved it, and that's obviously going to shape my opinion of this movie in many ways, but also because this is a special effects movie. 60% of it is going to be entirely digital.
Yep.
And so that is something that you want to see on the big screen, especially if it's really good, which I'm sure it's going to be.
So it's going to be kind of like Avatar.
Yeah, I guess. But
I mean, in a way.
like however many years later. And
I've
also
never
with-
seen Avatar.
with an
but
original story behind
That's
it.
what it sounds like.
Oh, Avatar burn.
Oh.
Less interesting Pocahontas in space.
Yep. Anyway, it's coming out in March, you say?
March of next year.
So March of 2018.
Maybe we should do an episode on every trailer that comes out for it.
Well,
and
I don't
update
think
our
I don't
opinions.
think that's necessary. If we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that with some amazing movies.
Maybe I'll write some articles.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think since it's in March, not a lot's going on in March movie-wise. Usually, there's
Really?
never like a ton of great movies in March.
Okay.
It's a slow time. March and April. May's when it starts really gearing up. So I could see going to the theater with you to see it, but it wouldn't be my first inclination. but I will probably go see it in theater for you.
Okay, what if I didn't
Because
exist?
I love you. If you didn't exist, I would probably wait and rent it on a Friday night.
Would you ever see
It's a
this?
nice Friday night rental.
Would you ever see this if I didn't exist?
Probably, but I would probably see it with one of my girlfriends
Okay.
on a Friday night.
A rental on a Friday night?
Yeah, with like one other friend.
With like a whole mess of pizza?
Not like a group. Yeah. Yeah, just like me, my best friend, way too much pizza, and this movie. I
Okay.
could see that. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Because it's one of those movies where you go to, like, let's just travel in time in our minds, since this is a movie that likes the 80s. Let's just travel in time to our mind when Blockbuster was a thing, okay? All right. So a lot of you listening to this may not barely remember Blockbuster, but you understand the concept. So this is the type of movie where, like, you'd go to the Blockbuster with your friends, and you'd be like, I really want to see this awesome movie that came out.
Uh-huh.
Not this one. Not,
Oh.
what's this one? Ready Player
Ready
One.
Player
Not
One.
Ready Player One. It would be like, I really want to see, like, let's just say Thor is out at the
Okay.
time. And then your friend is like, I really want to see this not so great movie that's like a rom-com, Fault in Your Stars Make You Cry type of movie or something. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to see that. But they're like, well, I don't want to see superhero, blah, blah, blah. And then Ready Player One, boom. Nobody really wants to
appears.
see it, but nobody really has a huge objection.
I think that
And that's why you see it.
I think that the majority of people who see this movie will see it because Steven Spielberg directed it.
Sure. And
And then
I'm not saying
the
it'll be
rest
bad.
of them
I really
will see it
think
because they
that
read the book.
I just really think that, yeah, if you weren't around, I would probably end up watching it just because it's the movie that I could agree on with somebody.
Okay.
Because you and I, we have such similar tastes that generally we'll find a movie we're both excited about. But, like, we don't have the problem where it's like, you really want one, I really want the other, so we settle for something we're both not that
But here's
excited
the
about.
thing.
We're lucky in that way.
This movie, unlike a lot of other movies that I'm more excited about than you, I don't feel like seeing it with you will ruin it for me.
No, because I'm not, like, adamantly against it.
Like Deadpool 2. When Deadpool 2 comes out, I'm not going to see it with you because I feel like
Why?
you'll ruin it for me.
Why?
Because you get annoyed about
Why?
all. You're like
I
my brother.
Deadpool. I like Deadpool 1.
Well, yeah, but you get annoyed about how other people like it so much.
But that's after the fact. But that's after the fact, man. I'll enjoy it. I'll be like, that was great. And then, like, 2 days later when people are talking about how it was the best superhero movie ever, I'll be like, calm down. Calm down. Have you seen The Avengers? Have you seen Iron Man 1? Have you seen Wonder Woman? Everybody calm down. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2? And then, once I get that off my chest, I'll be fine.
Or
Look, it's one of my favorite rom-coms, probably. Deadpool. But there are movies, I know what you mean. There are movies that you really
Right.
want to see that I'm like, ugh. And you don't want to go to a movie
Right,
with
exactly.
me where that's my attitude. And I get that.
But this one I think is different because, first of all, I know there's a lot to it, and that if they do it correctly, that you will enjoy it because it has all of those elements. And then
Yeah.
if they don't do it correctly, you won't enjoy it, and I will also agree that they
That's
could
true.
have done
I
it
think
better.
you're right. And I think we're both going to have a decent time when we see it. We
Having
may not.
a good time. Having a good time.
Anyway, I might be surprised because sometimes there will be great movies in March and February all of a sudden.
Well, Black Panther's is coming out in February.
Oh, shiz. So we've got our
We got our
February.
February
Yeah,
one.
we've got every weekend in February.
Oh, we're
filled
seeing it
up.
every week?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. But yeah, so I'm just saying we'll probably go see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get busy and then we don't. That wouldn't disappoint me too much, but it would disappoint you. So
No, yeah, I'm making
we'll
time
see.
for it.
We'll see
That's
what
for
happens.
sure.
What if a bunch of other great movies come out?
Doesn't matter.
Well, okay.
Oh, okay. All right, let's move on to Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
All right.
What was that move? Doing a little dance?
Proving to you that I'm not slouching back this time. I am
Okay.
ready to go. Rotten Tomatoes. So this is difficult because, as Charlie mentioned, there will be a lot more. Well, there will be at least a couple more trailers before this movie
Right.
comes out. And this is kind of a teaser trailer.
Yes.
It's a longer teaser trailer, and a lot of times I get mad when people call, a minute and a half trailer a teaser trailer,
think
but this
it's
really
really-
is a teaser.
I think there's a lot of anticipation for this.
yes.
Because, there were articles even,
Yes.
a year ago.
So, but here's the thing. So, a teaser needs to be something where you really don't know much about the movie. It just shows you a little glimpse. And that's what this is, even though it's a longer trailer. So, it's hard to guess what the what the audience and the critics are going to think, I bet when I see the next trailer, I'll have a better idea. But there is a lot of hype. There's a lot of people there's a fandom that surrounds it, and critics, tend to like sci-fi if it's done well. People like Spielberg. Pretty popular. So I'm going to say that this movie will get an 82% by critics.
Okay.
And a 74 from audience. I think the audience will have fun, but I think the critics will appreciate things that maybe the audience doesn't care about. And the audience will just be like, yeah, that was fun.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I think that I might have an unfair advantage on this.
Why? Did they already rate it?
No, because I read the book.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I think that critics will give it a 79%.
Okay.
And that audience will give it a 93.
Wow. Just because you think the people who go see it, they'll go see it because it's a Spielberg movie and then they'll be blown away?
No, because it's a Spielberg movie in every sense. It's just fun and like exciting, but doesn't really it's not like a movie that tackles issues of any kind.
Okay, could you name some Spielberg movies?
Oh, I can name
audience?
you a whole mess of Spielberg movies.
Oh, okay.
Listen to this list of movies.
Hang on, the
this
most
man
recent
has
one
directed.
that I've seen is the Alien one, Super 8, right?
I don't know if he directed that. I think
I
he
believe
was
so.
involved in it heavily, though.
Maybe he produced it, but I believe so.
But listen to this list. So you have Saving Private Ryan,
Never seen it.
Schindler's List,
Amazing.
Catch Me If You Can,
Amazing.
Jaws,
Never seen it.
amazing, all the Indiana Jones movies,
Great.
E.T.,
Sure.
Hook,
I like it.
Minority Report, The Terminal,
Minority Report,
and Jurassic Park.
The Terminal with Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
and Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
Tom,
Those are two of the best Tom movies I've ever seen. And sorry, what was the very last one you said?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, well, yeah. Duh.
So you have the famous ones. Well, and also he was,
Well, yeah,
just
and
as involved in Star
couple
Wars
of
as George
them-
Lucas was.
The couple of them I haven't seen, I've heard great things about, and I'm sure they're good. But seriously, though, Minority Report?
There's no one
That
else
sounds
who
like
is
you
that
said,
good.
If
at
he did
anything.
Minority Report, which I did not realize that was him, then this seems perfect for him because Minority Report is exactly that. It's like a dystopian future where it's all about the technology of the time.
And also, I
And
will
it's
say
so
this,
good.
and without giving too much away again,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of elements of Catch Me If You Can,
Huh. That's interesting.
like tone-wise and the constant running. and
Another
everything.
Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so
And that's, I'm missing a lot there also of other good ones that are just
so
not
a lot
as
of those
famous.
movies are older. Like Indiana
Yeah.
Jones, Jurassic Park,
But
Jaws.
they're not super old.
They're older, though. Like, they're old enough that they came out before we were born or when we were really young,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we're in our 20s. So if a lot of our listeners are also in their 20s or even younger, a lot of our listeners may not have seen the majority of those movies. So I just want to take a moment to plug Spielberg and say...
To plug Steven Spielberg?
Yeah. Seriously, though, if you're young, okay, it's one
How
of those
young?
things where, let's say 17, 18.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. What?
That's young.
Yeah. If you're 17 and 18 right now, you've only had 4 years time tops where you would have seen a lot of these movies because you were too young before that.
Well, yeah, or if you have terrible parents.
Sure. But you're not going to see Jaws when you're 8 years old, So, I'm just saying I need to see Jaws still and I still need to see Saving Private Ryan. But if you're young, go through that list that we just named and watch some of them, and I highly recommend Minority Report. Oh my God, I've seen it 20 times.
I highly recommend Indiana Jones.
Yeah, obviously, yes. And those are the type of things where, okay, it'll feel cheesy to you because
And
it is
Star
old.
Wars.
It'll feel cheesy to you because it is old, but watch it and just go with it. Sometimes you just have to let go of the fact that the special effects are not as good as they are today, and then just have fun with the story. And that's what you got to do with Indiana Jones.
Well,
and Star
Indiana
Wars.
Jones, the special effects in it,
They're not bad. Well, the second one.
the arc. When
Yeah.
When the faces melt. Are
Oh.
you serious? I'm not gonna spoil it for a
spoilers.
movie 30
Well,
years
okay.
old.
But the point is, yeah, you can get past it though because the story is good. If the story is really good, you're willing to accept it. It's like Ghostbusters. Special effects are terrible, but it's a fun movie anyway. So, watch Minority Report. Watch Indiana Jones. The Terminal is a really good movie that I think is underrated. A lot of people didn't see. It's great.
I did see
It's
that.
funny
I may
and
have seen that in the theaters
emotional
also.
and great. It's just it's a movie about a guy, Tom Hanks, who
Not his character
no,
isn't Tom Hanks.
but Tom Hanks plays a guy from another country who comes to America to see this place, to visit this place that his dad wanted him to go. And when he arrives, he finds out that his country just had like a military coup or something, and he's not allowed to enter the United States, but he also is not allowed to go home. So he's literally just stuck in the terminal. It's great. It's so good. Yeah, those are Schindler's List. If you haven't seen that in school yet,
That's
do it.
not a thing. And we've
Yes,
been
it
over
is.
that.
Are you kidding me? I am not the only person that has seen that in school.
Well, yeah, you
I
and
know
your
at
classmates.
least 20 other people.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, like I know a lot of people from different schools and different age ranges that
Different
saw
strokes.
that. Like people from different, generations. Schindler's List is amazing. I know what you're thinking. Wait, a movie about Nazis and concentration camps? That sounds depressing. Well, worth it. It's worth it.
All right, so Ready Player One.
Thanks for letting me plug that, Charlie.
Yeah, no problem.
Plug in Spielberg.
It
For all
needed
the
it.
youngins.
He needed it.
Some of the youngins
He's down on
don't
hard
know what they're
times right
missing.
now. Ready Player One, I think, looks really good. Also, if there's still a year basically until the movie comes out, go read the book. I think it'll
there's
make
plenty of
it'll
time.
make the movie either better or you'll just get to read a great book.
True.
It's really good. It's really easy to read. You can follow us at MTT Podcast on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and leave a review and rate us.
Please do.
They're
Please
very
do.
helpful. You can go to our website, mttpodcast.com, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there that you can take a look at. And also
Blogs, news.
blogs.
I'm just adding
I was
commentary.
just about to end it. You can always, and as always,
Wait,
what?
Facebook,
Yeah, we're there too.
Movie Trailer Trash Podcast. And you can always tell your friends about us.
And as always, follow Entertainment Buffet at Entertainment Buffet and subscribe to their YouTube channel, please.
We will see you guys soon.
Bye, Ready Player One guy.
No, that's not a thing.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Bye.